The Star Wars universe, once a beacon of imaginative storytelling, has suffered a series of missteps in recent years. The Force Awakens, while visually splendid, was a mere rehash of the original Star Wars, an echo rather than an evolution. The Last Jedi presented a disjointed subversion of established lore, often at the expense of coherent narrative. The Rise of Skywalker was a desperate deluge of lackluster content, flung against the walls in the hope that something might stick.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
The Mandalorian found its way quickly, but lost it just as fast. The Book of Boba Fett felt like a cheap afterthought. Obi-Wan Kenobi squandered 2 decades of anticipation and potential, and as for Ahsoka, I couldn't muster the interest to watch it. Rogue One flirted with greatness, and Solo was peculiar yet surprisingly enjoyable against my better judgment. Amidst these releases, Andor quietly slipped beneath my radar. Little did I know that it would prove to be a revelation. Its tone, characters, and meticulous world-building distinguish it within the Star Wars saga. It resonates with a mature, sophisticated approach to storytelling, portraying the rebellion's nascent brutality and moral complexity. I hadn't heard much about Andor. A few people mentioned it was boring, too detached from Star Wars, an attempt to be Game of Thrones in space. Given that 1 in 3 episodes is talking and travelling, it's understandable why an audience, conditioned by the fast-paced revolving door of shallow Disney content, might lose interest. It's a slow burn. But it is worth persevering with. The political landscape in Andor is meticulously crafted, highlighting the unforeseen savagery and ethical ambiguity that marked the rebellion's inception, but always tempered by the strict hammer of the Empire's own forms of brutality. Imperial top-down authoritarianism is rendered with chilling precision, replete with Orwellian undertones. We witness the banal evil of bureaucratic functionaries, the indifference of complacent administrators, and the ambition of opportunistic officers. None of these characters indulge in monologues about their malevolence because, within the Empire, they are not caricatures of evil but ordinary individuals, often misled or simply indifferent, conditioned not to question the status quo. What the ISB believes in above all else is security. Anton Lesser's Partagaz describes their role as that of a medical professional. Their measures are not aggressive acts of terror, they are radical forms of treatment and therapy that quell disorder and put down rebellions before they ever have a chance to spread. The Empire's immune system, so to speak. And with this returns the weight and gravitas of the Empire, a force to be reckoned with, not the constant butt of jokes and memes. These people, while morally questionable, are satisfyingly competent. They're not unreasonable. They're not unnecessarily callous or heavy-handed. They're practical people. And it is suddenly made evident how this empire operates and how it stays in charge. Something that hasn't effectively come across since Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion. The cast, and I genuinely mean the entire cast, is a superb ensemble of seasoned performers. Familiar British character actors appear throughout, lending their gravitas even to the most modest roles, enriching the ensemble and enhancing the authenticity of the setting. Consider this scene, where a wheeler-dealer Delboy type, portrayed by the always delightful Ron Cook, engages in a conversation with Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen, who utters perhaps 2 words, while the hustler delivers a thought-provoking monologue, lamenting with a wistful sigh and smile how much better things used to be. This character, though fleeting, imbues the series with profound depth and poetry. This is someone from the old galaxy, the one before the Empire. He's a dying breed, desperately trying to keep to what he knows in an ever-shrinking universe, where personalities like his won't exist for long. His presence, however brief, reinforces the notion of a lived-in galaxy populated by real people, extending this authenticity to every character who graces the screen. The dialogue in Andor is intelligent, which was so refreshing I almost wept. Crafted by writers who grasp the intricacies of human emotion and motivation, complex, relatable impulses drive the characters. Very little feels forced. The stakes feel genuine. The plot is not dependent on contrivance or the characters' inconsistent levels of stupidity. There are some truly poignant moments, tempered with timeless quotes that would not be out of place in the diaries of the finest dreamers, rebels, and apostates throughout history. Consider the character of Karis Nemec and his manifesto, which serves as a rallying cry for the rebellion.
Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause. Remember that the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. And then remember this. The Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks. It leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear. Remember that. And know this. The day will come when all these skirmishes and battles, these moments of defiance, will have flooded the banks of the Empire's authority, and then there will be one too many. One single thing will break the siege. Remember this. Try.
His words transcend mere exposition, embodying the spirit of resistance against tyranny. Similarly, Andy Serkis's character, Kino Loy, a well-earned return to the Star Wars universe after what happened to his last character, delivers a speech that reverberates from desperation, doubt, and fear to an impassioned resolve, in which you feel all the fury he had bottled up during his long, suffocating grind in an Empire's detainment facility. Awaiting an end to his sentence, one the Empire has ensured will not come. The inmates' crimes, their sentencing and their punishment, it's all arbitrary, and their grim realization encapsulates the plight of those oppressed by the Empire.
We will never have a better chance than this. And I would rather die trying to take them down than giving them what they want.
These moments are raw, powerful, and necessary, echoing historical precedents where tyranny crept insidiously into the lives of the unsuspecting. The slow encroach of authoritarianism in Nazi Germany, for instance, was marked by the passive consent of the masses and a deliberate obfuscation of information. Much like the Empire, the Nazi regime thrived on the paranoia it bred, where communication among officers was sparse and relationships were built on rivalry and one-upmanship. This self-involvement blinded them to the greater catastrophic machinery they were manning, a world-ending steamroller, flattening everything in its path. The parallels extend to contemporary geopolitics, reflecting the imperialistic tendencies seen in various forms of US interventionism.
We came, we saw, he died.
The Empire's top-down control mirrors the way modern superpowers often impose their will on weaker nations, justified by a veneer of benevolence or necessity, while concealing the underlying machinations of power and control. The portrayal of the Empire in Andor as a bureaucratic behemoth, where fear and ambition fuel the cogs of its machinery, is a sobering reminder of how easily such systems can arise. If you fall here, you fall alone. It favours applicability to allegory, allowing the audience to thread their own real-world comparisons. Don't be put off by what actors and writers and producers say in cringy press tour interviews. They're likely just following another script, only it's not as good as this one. I highly suggest ignoring what Fiona Shaw says and instead focus on her impeccable performance, which is emotional, inspiring, and weighty, alive with an endearing, heart-racing familial concern and tempered with unwavering resolve, securing her as one of my favourite characters. The story of Andor is never hindered by heavy-handed messaging or the usual vacuous morals of Hollywood.
Down with the patriarchy.
This open weave allows us to interpret these characters and events through any number of lenses. You can apply a metaphor for Trump and MAGA if that's your desire. Equally, you could apply one for Disney, the very machine behind Andor. Like the Empire, Disney represents the mechanization of creativity, imposing corporate order over artistic chaos. Yet, Paradoxically, within this corporate behemoth, a story like Andor can emerge, demonstrating that pockets of rebellion and genuine artistry can still thrive. Andor, while I won't call it perfect, has a few moments of convenience for the sake of plot, and a few odd design choices here and there, but the benefit of high-quality writing is that those sins suddenly feel very cosmetic, while the opposite is true of bad writing. The other mistakes start sticking out like weevils in a bag of flour. So, despite its few flaws, it stands as a testament to the possibility of greatness within a landscape often dominated by mediocrity.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
It exemplifies that even as the corporate empire tightens its grip, avenues of rebellion and diamonds in the rough remain. The fact that such a profound and reflective series was produced by Disney is no small miracle, and it may never happen again. It attests to the enduring potential for true artistry and meaningful storytelling within the confines of an oppressive system. Andor is the Star Wars narrative we desperately need. It offers a fresh, grounded perspective on a familiar universe, steeped in the harsh realities of rebellion and resistance. It serves as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even within the strictures of corporate dominance, genuine creativity and profound storytelling can prevail. For those disenchanted by recent Star Wars offerings, Andor is a must-watch. It is a diamond in the rough, a series that understands the weight of its legacy and delivers a story that resonates deeply and authentically. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into Andor or want to support my creative work, check out my book, The Farmer and the Fold, on Amazon, or consider joining my Patreon community. Your support means the galaxy to me. So until next time, may the Force be with you. Ugh, that's so cringy.